You can go online. Namaste. Good evening from Yoga Bharati. So welcome to the last day of the event of women, wellness of women event that we have been having for the last 1 week. So sit comfortably. Let us start the session with a few minutes of mindfulness. Sit straight, back, neck, head in a straight line. Palm resting on your thighs, shoulders relaxed. Let the eyes remain closed. Bring the awareness to the breath and observe the normal breathing for a few rounds. Let us chant one round of Omkara and start with the prayer, Sahana Vavatu. Breathe in. Sahana Vavatu. Sahanau Bhunaktu. Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently bow down, take the blessings from the God of your choice, a higher reality. May He protect us both. May He nourish us. May our study be fruitful. May there be no animosity in us. May our vision be aligned. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Welcome all to this day where we are going to have a session on Dinacharya and devotion. So we have our guests for today, Dr.Latha and Dr.Ahalya. So welcome, doctors, and wishing you both a happy Women's Day, and to all the viewers also a happy Women's Day to all. So just a brief introduction about the speaker before I hand it over to them. So we have had Dr. Latha before in this week itself, where she talked about the women's menstrual issues and also about menopause. So today, Dr. Latha Venkatram is on the advisory board of Yoga Bharati, and she is also one of the few doctors in India who is qualified and trained in obstetric medicine, and she has an extensive experience in high-risk pregnancy cases. And she is attached with Rangadore Memorial Hospital, as well as consultancy in other hospitals like Vasavi Hospital, Sagar hospitals. So, and she is also a disciple of Swami Dayanand Saraswati, and also the student of Yogashri Raghuramji, Dr. Nagaratna, and Guruji, Dr. Nagendra. So welcome, Dr. Latha. And then along with her, we have Dr. Ahalya Sharma. Dr. Ahalya is an Ayurvedic practitioner with special interest in infertility, and she is now the principal of the Ayurvedic Medical College in Bangalore. Earlier, she was the former deputy director of Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, and also a former director of the Ayush Ministry in Karnataka. And apart from her qualification and being an Ayurvedic doctor, she's also done a diploma in yoga from SVSI Yoga University. And she's also won a Best Teachers Award. And also she has won an award for acting, Best Acting. And she was also a member of the Beneka Theatre Group of B.V. Karant. So welcome, to both of you. So today's session on Dinacharya and devotion. So you wonder how these two are connected. So if you have, and it's going to be an interactive session. So if you have any questions, or you can always put it in the chat, so they could take it up and answer your queries. So over to Dr. Latha and Dr. Ahalya.
Thank you. ಮಹಿಳಾ ದಿನಾಚರಣೆಯ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳು. ಇಲ್ಲ, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಹಲ್ಯ ಹೇಳೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಸ್ತ್ರೀ ದಿನಾಚರಣೆಯ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳು. ಓಕೆ, ನಾವು ಒಬ್ಬರೇ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಬೋರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡು. Are we okay to speak in Kannada or English? I mean, you want?
Yeah, you can choose both. No problem. Yeah, yeah.
People understand. Most of them understand Kannada, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah.
ಸೊ ಒಬ್ಬರೇ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಬೋರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕಾಣಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವಿಬ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಎಚ್ಚರವಾಗಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಜನನ್ನು ಎಚ್ಚರವಾಗಿ ಕೂರಿಸಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ.
Doctor, there is a message saying that many are also from outside Bangalore. Okay. So it'll be better if you can, speak in English.
Sure. Okay, fine. Yeah. So instead of monologue, we wanted to make it a dialogue. Otherwise, it would be so monotonous. Monologue can be so monotonous. People can fall asleep. Anyway, there is nobody to monitor because it's online. So, and also the speakers might feel so bored that we might get switched off completely mentally. So that is the problem. So anyway, it's going to be a dialogue, and we would like to sort of touch upon various aspects of this topic. And it is a freestyle that we are, it's a discussion in a freestyle. So please feel free to interrupt. As we go along, probably we will also be introspecting and interrupting each other. So please make sure, please feel free. And we are going to make it fairly light rather than a very serious learning here. Yes. Okay. So, Dr. Ahalya, it's such a privilege, such a speaker being with me is a real privilege because Sharadamba has really blessed her with such a Vagjari. It is such a pleasure, honestly. And she will be doing all the, giving you all the quotes, etc., etc. And I will be asking her mostly questions. So that is the safe,
we are just talking about what is possible in day-to-day life.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, the topic is Bhakti in devotion in daily life. This is also a chance for us to learn, interact, take their inputs, and we make it a Women's Day. So let's interact with each other and see how best we can do. Ultimately, we are all aiming to be happier, joyous, and of course have that paramartha in us and where we want to actually go. So this is a journey that all women go together, holding each other's hands wherever possible. So that's about it for the day.
Holding men's hands also.
Our guru is that, so no problem.
Okay. Now, I think we should to ourselves define what is devotion.
Yes.
More than defining it, probably just understand it. Probably. Perfect. Yeah. Would we call it as a state of mind?
Yeah, very true.
So, state of mind where there is recognition of that Bhagavan or that supreme energy, where you can surrender with a lot of love, ease, and gratitude. Absolutely. Which is very pleasant. It's a very pleasant state of mind.
Okay.
There is no apprehension, anxiety, stress, all these. So it is a relate.
Yes.
Or Bhakti is a relation with Bhagavan. What would you say?
Absolutely agree with you, Latha. Bhakti is, I would like to put it up in a story.
Okay.
There were these salt dolls that were standing on the edge of the ocean, talking to each other. And they were contemplating how deep is the ocean, how cold is the ocean, and etc., etc. How big is the ocean? One salt doll quietly walked into the ocean, felt light after a while, lighter after a while, and ultimately it disappeared in the ocean. That is what bhakti will lead us to. And that is what Ramana Maharshi says, that when you put your thoughts, your ego is totally dissipated at the source. And that is what bhakti has to do. That into that higher form, where you bring in, there's a lot more acceptance, and it's got mostly to do with the heart and very little with the head. But having said that, bhakti becomes the premise on which karma and jnana operate.
Very true, very true. Without the recognition of this bhakti, if you didn't use the tool of bhakti, karma and jnana have absolutely no meaning. We'll come to it a bit later, probably. So it is all joy, peace, harmony, whatever you want to sort of call it. And that ultimate happiness is, so the salt melted into that huge samudra or ocean of salt. That's what needs to happen. So what is really devotion in daily life? So devotion, we say it is a state of mind, and it is a total feeling of surrenderance, where you feel that you are.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is it that you surrender only when you are in your puja room in front of the deity? Or is it an attitude that comes to you through the day? Or is it only when you see someone more reverential that you are in front of your guru? How would you understand it?
I think the bhaktas are of 4 types. Since you asked me this question, Arthi, Artharthi, Jignasu, and Jnani. Arthi is whenever it's a business form of relationship with the Lord. I give you this, I'll come and see you. I will, Tirupati, I will give you so much of money or so much of 100 coconuts or whatever. Pradakshinas.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a business, and you give me this.
Yeah.
Artharthi is, okay, you're existing. I know that you're existing. I pay some respect to you every day in some form or the other. Jignasu is, oh my goodness, you are somebody great, and I want to know you all my life, all through, all about you. That is, in simple terms, probably Jignasu.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. But a Jnani is the person, it's like the salt doll getting immersed and immersed and immersed and inseparable from the sea.
Mirabai, Tyagaraja.
Tyagaraja. Inseparable. That is, it might be Parabhakti or it can't be Jnana. That is, Aham Brahmasmi Jnana. So it can be of 4 different types of bhakti, and also we would be sort of going through phases of all these types in our daily life in different ways. But I think what we have to aim through devotion in daily life is the Jignasu and the Jnani state, not still keep ourselves in business state, if I may say that, but it can start off with business state and realizing the importance of.
The best part here is, Latha, though we have the Arthi, Artharthi, Jignasu and Jnani Bhakta, Krishna does not differentiate between anybody. He says, all of them are dear to me.
Absolutely.
So he has no conditions. Okay, you want this? Come, at least that way you have come to me, I shall give you this.
Yeah.
So that is the karunya that Krishna has towards his bhaktas, and that is what is seen in the Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah.
So he actually comes up with so much of compassion towards us, irrespective of the kind of bhakta that you are. That is there.
Yes.
I just want to add a point here. Is the world a means? We have a goal, a means, and an end. Okay, a goal, a means, and God or self. Suppose we want to do a parikrama of Kailash. I can't carry the heavy weight. I need a porter.
Yeah.
And the 3 days I'm doing the parikrama, the porter is very, very important to me. So he comes. So he is a means. And my goal is to go around the Betta, the Kailash. So I go around with him, he being the means to go. After 3 days, he has not much of a idea
Goal,
to me.
yeah.
The goal is done.
Hmm.
And then for whom do we do it? Who is the dearest to each of us? It's me. So that way, is God the means? Is God the goal? Or are you trying to see him in you or you in him? That is something we need to actually understand.
Hmm.
When you are sincere, they say, as the text say, the world becomes the means for me to attain God. So good or bad, I know it is Ishvara Kripa. It is Ishvara Prasada Bhava, the right attitude with which I shall take. That is when Karma Yoga is on the basis of Bhakti Yoga. So
True.
God as means, God as a goal, or God in us. The Jagad Adhishtana, Jagat Karta Ishvara, Jagad Adhishtana Ishvara.
Yeah.
So we need to move to that.
Yeah. So you are talking about Dvaita. Okay. That is him and you.
Yeah.
And being separate and seeing it in various forms, etc., etc.
Yes.
But when you have to get to a stage where you say there is God only. God only. See, people say he is the only God. Many religions say that. He is the only God. Ishvara is the only God. Jesus is the only God. But what Advaita says, everything is God only. Otherwise, that innate joy can be fluctuating. So if you wanted permanent peace, permanent joy, what can I say? The happiness unmeasurable, immeasurable, aprameya. That is what has to happen. But we are talking about the daily
We have
life.
the Manda Bhakta, we have the Madhyama Bhakta, we have the Uttama Bhakta. So we have the categories, and we are all
I think we have to progress.
Yes.
That is all. I mean, the whole life is to evolve from Manda Bhakta to Uttama Bhakta. That is from to Jignasu and Gnani. Okay, but we are talking about our daily mundane life here. I mean, we get up in the morning and we have office to go. You're talking about Manda Bhakta, that this and that. I mean, well, I am worried about my Manda in the mornings. Okay, so actually, recognition of the Lord should be there innately with every activity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but the ego sort of pops on and off, on and off. That's when you think you are in command of the whole thing. And that feeling of surrenderance is, see, action can be fully in surrenderance. It doesn't mean to say that you won't be functioning if you are surrendering and he will take over. No, you have to do your kartavya. That's different thing. So let's start with our sleep, Ahalya. Let's start with our sleep.
Essentially, what you're saying is,
let's recognize him throughout the day. That is what
recognizing him throughout the day. Also,
Yeah.
handing over my responsibility. Whatever causes tension to me is yours. Now
You're
I am
sharing
going
responsibility,
to
I
do.
say.
Absolutely.
You're
Why is he
sharing.
there?
Yeah.
Tena vina trinamapi na chalati.
Hmm.
So I shall do it as per your guidance. So you are going to guide me. Now that is what. Let's look at a simple household situation.
Let's look
I
at
don't understand Advaita.
Yeah,
We know God as the means end, etc.
Mm.
So some of it is good theoretically, yes, we understand.
Mm.
But then there is a situation in which I have to get up and act. And can I remember him then?
Hey, very fact that you are getting up
Correct.
in the same body is the biggest surprise.
When we sleep, how sure are we that we're going to get up the next morning?
Absolutely.
And that is His grace. So from there it starts.
No, sleeping itself.
The very sleep.
You have to give up your identity. Otherwise, if you say, I did this, I did that, I have to get this, etc., etc., you can never sleep. You have to give up yourself.
Prakriya that comes out is because of this sushupti.
Absolutely.
Where we prove everything because I don't know who I am. I don't know who slept. And when you get up, we say, I slept well. Who slept?
Yeah.
Who's that I who is
Oh.
recognizing and saying,
Absolutely.
I slept in this body?
Yeah,
So
And
that's
you're-
from where it starts.
absolutely. So the sleep itself is, as doctors, I mean, it is
I
so
know.
important that, I mean, when you say patient is not getting much sleep, you tell them 101 things, but
Yes.
still they won't be able to sleep.
That is
You
one.
can give medications, and whether it works or not works, it's not in your hands.
Yes, Dr. Latha. Here I would answer it. There is a question here, same like what you said. You said you have patients coming to you saying that, doctor, I don't get sleep. Similarly, even in our class, yoga sessions, we have participants saying that, nidre barta illa. So what do we do? In asana heli illa, some pranayama technique. So here in this devotion, now that you're talking about devotion, so what is it that you will say that, you said just what is it that they need to do so that, they get a good sleep?
And you just surrender to the Lord and say, Shira Sagara Taranga Shikara Charu Tarakita Charumurtaye Bhogi Bhoga Shayanaya Shayane Madhavaya Madhuvidvase Namaha Antantanbittu Kai Mugadu. You take me to that abode of sleep. Actually, the sleep goddess has to bless.
Yadevi
Sarvabhuteshu
Sarvabhuteshu
Nidrarupena
Nidrarupena Samskrita. If you really want to know the value of time, get up at 2:45 until 3 when there is nothing to do in the morning. That 15 minutes with some pain here and there appears like eternity. In fact,
Absolutely.
it's so difficult, the anxiety, the panic that comes over. So
So-
all these are what we experience and
Mm.
when we surrender.
Yeah, so it is very important to recognize that it is not in my hands.
Yes.
Okay, so
So
leave it to the
Every
Lord.
little
So,
thing that's just happening as a part of the great orchestra, which we take for granted.
Mm.
So when you get up in the morning,
when you get up in the morning,
yes,
I mean, you should be very happy that you have got up in the same body and also not much of aches and pains.
yes.
Otherwise, all orchestra will be going on in the body. So I think we should be very grateful to get up in this, with a good, healthy body and mind.
Yeah.
Otherwise, some people have a tendency, even before they get up, they will be looking at this thing,
Calendar.
calendar, alla mobile.
Ah.
What all messages we have got. What? I mean, I tell you, instead of thanking the Lord and saying, look, you have made me get up in this body. Let me just do the best while I am in this body. And give me sense, no nonsense.
Absolutely.
Anta kelkobe.
You know what,
So,
Latha?
Karagre Vasate Lakshmi. See, these slokas also help to, motivate us to surrender.
Repeatedly remember the Lord. That's one thing.
Absolutely.
It's like hitting the statue.
Yeah.
You hit it again and again, the finer it
Sculpture.
becomes.
Yeah.
So before I wake up, I do this. Before I touch the ground.
Yeah.
Samudra
Vasane
Vasane
Devi,
Devi, Parvatastana Mandale, Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam, Padasparsham
Sparsham
Kshamaswame.
Shamaswame. Okay,
Latha,
that's sort of
now-
Panchabhutas.
Yeah.
All the time we are dealing with Panchabhutas.
Panchamahayagya
Panchamaha-
all through the day.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
the same thing. In fact, when we start the house, we do the Gudli Puja, we worship. It is that you're not supposed to, we are stamping on her and we are hurting her.
Mm.
So long as we treated earth as a living thing, she, the mother. I remember when we were young, we were not allowed to play after 7. They would say, no, you're not going to play. She's sleeping. You can't disturb. And today we are going 300 feet below the ground, 2000 feet below the ground to get water or to put up another structure.
And most of the time
Soil
you are
is
up
going
at
to be-
night also.
Soil is
Sorry.
going to be our greatest problem, not even water, because we have
Absolutely.
spoiled it so much. These were meant to take care of the Vyashti and the Samashti, so that we live. That's why man could live for thousands of years in harmony. And in 30, 40 years, we have completed it. I don't know where we're going to go.
Yeah. And morning, yeah, okay, the earth you worship and you go and light the fire to make your coffee. Can you produce fire? What a bhakti you should have. With folded hands, you should be doing namaskaram to that Agni. Okay, who makes your coffee? Or even if you put your kettle on, some people might say, I put the kettle on. Where is the question of
Electricity.
the electricity? Can you make the electricity?
Energy.
The energy, the water. So Okay. Now, I'm more than that. I think I should be shameless to share this. What a magic it would be. Actually, the motion you pass, the urine you pass, I tell you, it is like we are so fascinated as children when the magician holds the hat, puts a koli or some cock and brings out a handkerchief or some scarf or something like that. It honestly feels like that to me. Honestly, what all garbage we eat and how the system processes it. And the excreta is totally different. Idli, vada, sambar, what all, burger, that is another, what all. And also, the other thing is the urine. What a metamorphosis. You drink all sorts of things. You eat all sorts of things, but it gets filtered. And the whole thing is changed. And what an excreta. So actually, you should be doing a very big namaskaram to the motion and urine in the morning. I'm very serious.
We are not even aware of the breath that goes in. We aren't aware of the digestion that is happening. And we keep saying there is no joy in life, there is no meaning in life outside with this body, which is so beautifully working intact without expecting anything. If there is something called unconditional love, it is our body treating us the way we ill-treated, and yet it being so kind to us.
The Lord is so very kind, Karunamurti. I tell you, even to take a step, to get up in the morning without being paralyzed is a very, 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 very big thing. Even to put a step forward, I tell you, you have to have the earth steady, all your organ system well connected, your brain to the feet, and I think it's amazing. You are given everything is given to be able to talk, express yourself. My goodness, it is so very complex. I mean, unimaginable, most complex, most fascinating, most amazing thing. And
we know its importance when a child does not cry 1 minute after its birth. The first thing it does, take a breath, the love cry.
Even to say, it takes so much of coordination for the things that you think and to come through the mind, to the vocal cords, to be spelt on your tongue, and the same thing going through the wind and not getting altered, falling on somebody's ears. And it is reaching the brain again. What forms of energy, electrical energy, sound energy, so many types of energy that you're dealing with. And if we cannot recognize all these and get, because we are going at a speed, enormous speed. Rocket probably travels slower. So that is why we are unable to recognize. Manasu ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸುವುದು ಬಹಳ ಕಷ್ಟ. ಅದೇ ಏನಪ್ಪ ನೀವ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಏನು ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕುವೆಂಪು ಹೇಳಿದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನಂಗೆ ಮರ್ತೋಗಿದೆ. But anyway, so
faster than the speed of the wind, Krishna says. Right? Arjuna says it's faster than the speed of the wind.
Asamshayam mahabaho vigraham matam. And for which he later says, abhyasena to kaunteya vairagyena chakrikyate. So as difficult as that.
So next, I mean, I think we have talked about Panchabhut, Agni, Apa, Vayu, and this thing. And when you bathe, you cannot be getting anything special to bathe. You have to bathe with water. That's the most cleansing thing. And Gange Chayamane Chayama, Godavari Saraswati. All these slokas are meant to bring so much of devotion. And you sit for breakfast, and breakfast is not just, you cannot, ivattu idli, I mean, we will have idli today. What is idli? The urad dal, you can't make it. No, make it. Right. You cannot make rice. It is all provided. And you put together things. And that is, and you put it together into your system. And you have lost control over it completely. The digestive system has to do its job. It is not in your hands. Even having a bite, even lifting the morsel of food is not in your hands. I can tell you that much.
When
Because
we realize this and know how helpless we are, and yet when our ego comes up and says, I am doing it. Akka Mahadevi says a beautiful thing here. She says, Ile nimmadana, bele nimmadana. The earth is yours, the crop is yours, the flowers are yours, the tree is yours. I pluck a flower and come and offer it to you and feel so good about it, like as if I did everything. It is hers. Putting it back, and yet my own little ego comes up and says, oh, I did it.
No,
I did
idli, I did it. If somebody else claimed, the husband claimed, oh, I did the batter, the wife will say, no, I did it. And I baked it, I cooked it. I tell you, who is cooking? What is happening? Who is baking? Can you bake the particles? Can you make the particles? It's
what
all.
should the body say when it's able to translate a banana into my bones and flesh?
Yeah.
What is that wisdom, that intelligence? Bhakti Yoga, one of the most important things, as I understand, Latha, is when we bring all this in, wherever there is gratitude, complaints drop.
Absolutely.
When complaints drop, life is meaningful, life is peaceful. Only so long as I feel this nail does not sit properly there, I have a house, I have a neat wall. If I were in Ukraine today, every little thing, we know, many a times we intend to compare, and the only comparison is with what is less than us. What is higher? There can be nothing higher than your own mind. We live in our mind. We don't live outside our mind. Every little thing begins and ends there. Tere naam pe shuru, tere naam pe khatam. I feel the joy. I might live in a big house with no peace. I might live wherever I am and bring peace into this abode in. And then everything outside becomes.
Absolutely.
That is the biggest take-home point of Bhakti Yoga at this point.
Acceptance.
Every day, every activity, whatever is going on is because of you. I have my vivechana, I have my thought process. I may go wrong, but I stand to be corrected. I might have made a mistake. I shall get back to you, because even that has been your grace on me. This is the only thought that we need to carry on in every activity.
If you surrendered even your wrong activities, knowingly that you have, unknowingly, knowingly, if you have done, and if you can surrender, then the correction is also in his hands. And we are not saying that, for example, I mean, you accept your children as they are. We are not saying that, oh, you should not correct them at all. No, not at all.
You remember the story we heard in when we were young at the ashrama, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and the snake story, which is so common. There was a snake which was biting everybody, and then Paramahamsa ji comes there, and then he says, please don't do it, and the snake stops biting. The little boys go and start stoning the snake. It's almost dead, and he passes the next week and says, what happened to you? He says, I stopped biting people, so they're now troubling me. Hiss, but don't bite. You need to have the trigunas. You can't be in an interactive world, in a Dvaita Prapancha, in the transactional world. In fact, it is very well recognized. The Vyavaharika Satta, the Paramarthika Satta is very well recognized. I need to play the roles I have.
Absolutely. And also, for example, I mean, another story I remember, the elephant was chasing a sannyasi. Okay. Yeah. And the sannyasi said, oh, it is the farm of the Lord. And I cannot sort of, I mean, whatever Lord wants to do, he will do. And he gets trampled. Yes. So his guru says, why did you get trampled? So, no. I had totally surrendered to the Lord. Yeah. Okay. So, but
we need to
the
remember,
guru said, look, why? When you are interacting, whatever needs to be done has to be done. Otherwise, but with the bhava of surrenderance.
Otherwise, Krishna would not have told Arjuna to fight. He could have just finished everything in a Tasmat Yudhyasva Bharata. He mentioned it because we need to do what we are meant to do. And there is no running away from an ordained duty. All the duty done with the right attitude and the right knowledge.
Right attitude, right gratitude.
Right attitude. Yes. Right
attitude.
Gratitude, right knowledge. So between the right attitude and the right knowledge, that is where it comes in. One is the Ishwararpana Bhava, the other is the Ishwara Prasada Bhava. I have prepared my child to write an exam, and the child comes up with 68%, and somebody else has much more. How important is it? How important is that 68 ultimately?
Yeah.
That's okay. That doesn't mean you don't train your child next time. But
Absolutely. So
that is not the be all and end all of life. So
and
this
the
is
karma
how,
yoga is nothing but this.
absolutely.
Ahalya. See, you do everything and leave the karmani eva adhikarasti. Phaleshu kadachana. Ishvara is the karma paladhata. But we have to put our sincere efforts. So that will go on throughout the day. Whether I am a doctor trying to prescribe something, and saying, look, oh, I could diagnose. I could treat this patient. What? What are we treating? Okay, you could diagnose because the Lord made that network and made it work in a particular way. So you could diagnose your intelligence. With your intelligence, you could diagnose. And you prescribe something. For example, to reduce the temperature, you prescribe paracetamol and whatever in Ayurveda. So whether the paracetamol is going to be taken properly, whether he is going to get the right dosage, whether it is the right dosage, and whether it's going to get absorbed in the blood, and it's going to go to the temperature center and block those receptors, bring down the temperature, it is not in your hands. So that is why whenever you again, Ishwararpana Buddhi, let that work. The prayers to Dhanvanti as doctors, with every prescription, every diagnosis, everything. So if you keep on thinking about the Lord in every action that you do, it becomes karma yoga. Because that I-ness, see, I-ness is the one which keeps troubling us. Yeah, this small compartmentalized I. Yeah. So, as you said, if the salt can dissolve, the salt doll can dissolve into the widest ocean of salt, where is that doll which was made of salt? Yes. Yeah. If we can have that attitude, that would be fantastic. It comes with abhyasa and counting, but it has to come with practice.
So a repetitive practice.
Repetitive practice.
Steadfast in our approach. In fact, the very word yajna means that. Bhakti and yajna. So you make it like a yajna. Bhakti comes from the root bhaj, to vibhajana, to be able to understand it separately,
but together.
Yajna, is what is done in the Utkrishta Bhava, what is done Nirantara. So I may not understand a prayer. And most of we have the Sanskrit prayers. Many of us feel that our grandchildren don't say Brahmarpanam Brahma. They go to English schools. Most of them are NRIs. And to them, a Sanskrit prayer itself can be something they don't identify. If I have moved on and I've heard it on and off, then there is something on my ear. How would I tell those children? How would we make them understand? This is a common question that many people keep asking us. I have a small story, Latha.
Yeah.
There was a master who was known to be very compassionate, and people with him, jnana is confirmed. It was like that. So years on, he would take people, train them, and very compassionate guru, as a guru would be. And there was this one person who was not a very sharp fellow, but he went on asking, give me moksha, give me moksha, give me jnana. Jnana is moksha. So this guru said, okay, they were going somewhere, sitting on the banks of a huge river, lot of steps down. He sits there, and then the guru says, okay, take this basket, go down and bring water in the basket, and I shall give you jnana.
Basket with lot of holes.
Basket with lot of holes, obviously, a cane basket. So he takes it down, goes to the river. As he is bringing it down, the 4th, 5th, 8th step, all the water is out. But the very patient student comes back. After 100 times, he gets very irritated. He says, what a teacher are you? There is nothing. How can I bring water in this? The teacher says, look. He says, what is there to look? It's all watery. I'm slipping down. I'm falling. He says, no, look still. And then he says, okay, look at the basket. He says, so what I saw? How was it when you started? It was full of charcoal. It was full of the soot of it. It was a dirty one. And he says, look at it now. Very soft, very nice, very clean basket. He says, this is what happens when you do a japa. Latha, there's a question. Ma'am, can you please give us tips on how to drop common wasteful activities in our modern Dinacharya? We've spent so much of time traveling. We go by a metro, by cab, especially in Bangalore, we travel hours on end, when we, thank God we are working from home, many of us now, but if we have to travel. And the most important thing we do is get onto the YouTube, get onto the WhatsApp. So can we get onto a japa? And like the student, without our knowledge, the cleansing would have happened. Ultimately, Latha, we
And
need
also
to
this
remember,
awareness that
yes,
all the time,
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, you try to see the Lord and to do the japa. That it takes you a long, long way.
yes.
Actually,
Latha, there is a
yeah.
preparation that must go on for all this, and that is the Shamadi Shakta
Exactly.
Sampatti plus Chitta Shuddhi, which should be there. That is,
Yeah.
I know this is going to work. I know, that faith, that surrender, that comes through Bhakti Yoga. So ultimately, once there is Chitta Shuddhi, everything else is like, it's like a blotting paper. The mind is
Yeah.
there. It can just absorb.
Yeah.
So
So we
that
will
is
give a
what we are
jalebi
actually-
example.
Yeah.
Jalebi, if it is done well, if dropped into the paka, it just gets absorbed.
Correct.
If the jalebi is not done, however the paka might be, good the paka might be, or the syrup might be, it just doesn't get absorbed.
Correct.
So, yeah, we should see how to make the best jalebis of ourselves and drop it into the paka of devotion.
Yes.
Yes, doctor, there was a question here saying that, yes, both of you said that, you keep first is awareness and the repetitive practice, right? Keep repeating the practice. But a lot of people say, oh, we're doing the same practice again. How long do we do it? So that is the question. How long is the, question? So what would you say for that?
As long as you feel one with it, as long as you feel that it has not, this thought has not left you, it is not easy. It can take lives and lives. This understanding, as we said, from Arthi to Artharthi to Jignasu to Moho, Gnani, it can take many, 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 many lives. So we have to keep doing it. It might be a routine, but we have to keep doing it. For example, to maintain the body, we keep taking bath. How long to take it? Yeah, how many days to take it? You have to keep clean the vessels. Till the vessel is cleaned, you have to keep cleaning it.
Yes, that is one. On a positive note, if you have the Guru, the grace of the Guru, if you are willing to let go sooner, it can be not
Sooner.
many janmas. It can be in this janma now, as early as possible. But that's where Guru's grace comes. That is where our Sanchita Karma comes. So have I finished my Prarabdha? Am I reducing the Sanchita? Am I going through them in the right way? That is again where Chitta Shuddhi comes in, only with a clear mind, where it doesn't get attached to anything. It doesn't go, Yasmanod Vijate Lokanod Vijate. I have nothing to do with them. But that doesn't take me away from the world. I am in the world, but not of it. Latha, do you remember Nagatna madam's favorite quote? Yaradu koneಗಳ ನಿಮ್ಮಾಡು ಮನದಾಲಯದಿ ಹೊರ ಕೋಣೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಲೋಗರಾಟಗಳ ನಾಡು ವಿರಮಿಸೊಬ್ಬನೆ ಮೌನದೊಳೊಳ ಮನೆಯ ಶಾಂತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ವರ ಯೋಗ ಸೂತ್ರವಿದು ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ. And this is not a sutra. This is not a kagga which we just say and forget. We do it. We can practice it. I know it. Lot of circumstances which, in fact, the finer we get, the more evolved we get, the subtler things start hurting us. Somebody's body language, somebody's look like that. Every little thing, we are so sensitive to everything around. Latha didn't look at me properly. Latha, you didn't recognize this. So from there, I responded. It was not that she has to say something. She didn't wish me. Maybe she was not. So all that my thoughts go on. How does it matter? I just need to drop. So long as I have you and me,
That's all
comes.
that is.
You and I are of the same. So that is when the problem will dissipate. Mithya Jagatadishtana Muktida Mukti Rupini Lalita Sahasranama we say. This is a Mithya Jagatadishtana. This is not the truth. This is not the ultimate.
But
That
difficult to accept it because the interaction is only with the Namarupa Jagat. Okay. But
that is where Guru comes.
Yeah, that is where the Guru comes for all the punyas that you have accrued probably. And also we have to sort of, the whole aim to grow is, as you said, Chitta Shuddhi very, very important. But accruing punya is also very, very important. The right and righteous activity, dharmic activity, very, very important. Dharmic activity is what, I mean, in simple terms, whatever you cannot sort of share it in front of everybody, that is not very dharmic, whatever activities. Okay. It's a very few activities, very personal activities. Whatever you, I mean, if you can get over all this, I mean, I wouldn't say get over, reduce, keep on reducing kama, krodha, mada, matsarya, moha, lobha, ityadi. It takes you a long, long way in every action. Why did I do that? Is a question that one has to introspect. What for? What was the prayojana? Okay, should I have done it? Should I have not done it? Should I have done it otherwise? All these. And with the samarpana bhava, if you can do it, it will take you a long, long, long way.
Latha, I have some inputs from Bhakti Yoga that we study. There are these 5 stages that we can recognize. The first stage is the Sakama Bhakti. Okay, give me this, I'm there with you. Give me this, I'm there.
Yeah.
Then we move on to Nishkama Bhakti. Can I go in front of and say, I surrender? I don't ask for, give me this, give me that. I think that itself is a big hurdle cross, because every time I go down, okay, take care of my health, if not anything, take care of my family, take care of my son, every little thing comes in.
Again, arthi, that is business.
So, Sakama, Nishkama. And then I move on to Ekarupa. My Ishtadevata is only Sharadamba, only I can see God only through her. And then I grow, look at it as Aneka Rupa. Then you know it is like the Karya and the Karana, the cause and the effect. If God is the cause and the world is the effect, the essence of him must be here also.
I mean, people are seeing it separately, as if he is living somewhere else. That is the problem.
So then we say, God is the material cause for this universe. So we go there and then we realize whatever I'm experiencing, I'm not experiencing anything
other than the Lord.
Yes. Yeah. So those are the 3. And in that, 12th chapter, he beautifully brings out Sakama, Nishkama, Ekarupa Ishvara, Aneka Rupa or Vishwarupa Ishvara. When I can look at him, that's exactly what happened to Bhakti Yoga comes after Vishwarupa. That's what happened to Arjuna. Arjuna was not prepared. It was not through his Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti he arrived there with Chitta Shuddhi. Krishna granted that extra boon to him, gave him the eyes, but it was not there. But Sanjaya had it. So he did not worry much. Arjuna could not take it. He says, come back to the original form that I know you in. So when we can recognize the war that is happening, the killing that could go on, the good that is there, half of our questioning will go on. Now we keep on asking why this election, why this happened, why that happened, as if I have an answer for anything.
Why?
Again,
I mean, small things.
Again, like... I'm still in the society. I have to be there, but you don't have to get worked up. Yes, this happened. What is it? Take it. So what? As Shastriji said.
Yeah, so what?
So what? So we move to Vishwarupa Ishvara. And then we realize it is a Rupa Ishvara. There is nothing beyond him. It is just him, which I can see. So after saying all this, he talks of the 35 qualities of a Parabhakta. Samashatra Ucha Mitrecham Tata Manapa Manayo. I have no extra feelings. This happened, very good. This did not happen, very good. How would I bring it up in me? Very importantly, I look at somebody who can do it, good or bad. Look at the equanimity. Oh, why not me? So, and that is where a satsanga becomes very important.
I was going to say, Mahile should not be striving for equality.
Absolutely.
She should be striving for equanimity.
Yes.
That is what she should be striving for. Playing so many roles, there is so much of sacrifice that a woman does, even compared to a man. But I think it's very important. Sulabhamagi, I mean, she can easily fall into the path of bhakti.
Yes. It is innately there because bhakti is nothing but love. Ultimately, it is that. It is recognizing that conscious principle in everything and everyone. And as a mother, you can do it. You wouldn't differentiate a 6-month here and a 6-month-old there. You know it's that. So it's naturally there in her, that nurturing. So you can take it much easily. So Bhakti yoga should
Yeah,
be the
Navavida Bhakti, a lady can easily
Yeah,
practice. Navavida
Sakha.
Bhakti. Yeah, so many things.
Dasya, every little bit.
And throughout the day, in Dinacharya, she will be practicing Navavida Bhakti if she is aware of the bhakti.
I mean,
That is one.
work stress is a big issue for most of us. You know, we are not happy at work. We have a difficult boss. We have times that are not very good, and that is where Bhakti yoga, Bhakti, in the understanding it through Karma yoga will help us. Well, I'm ordained to do it. Let me do it. When do I get stressed up? When I look at the karma phala. We need to be prudent to look at it, but not, but more prudent not to react to it. I do what I can, but I don't have to. There is a promotion that comes 6 months later. The world does not stop there. So this is something we have to tell ourselves.
You have not been given the rightest opportunity. Okay, that is the. I have tried, but
yes,
it might not have come through.
And
so
all
what?
that a
so
person
what?
needs then is someone who can say, so what?
So
it's
what?
just a matter of 6 months. Which
And-
world is going to stop?
And it takes a variety to make this world anyway.
Absolutely.
So you cannot just say, look, everybody has to be on equal platform.
Yes.
How can they be?
Absolutely.
All these have to be dealt with by bhakti. It's easy because emotions can be channelized very easily through bhakti. And everything is really perfect. If you looked at it carefully, and if you know, if you can take everything as Ishvara Prasada, everything is perfect in this world. There is nothing that you want to correct. Oh, hingilla, hangilla. Yes, put your efforts to help out, put your efforts to mend, put your efforts to bend, but you don't have to feel disappointed, disgruntled, dejected. Yeah.
So that's where we learn to take it and say, okay,
yeah,
it could, it may not.
It
If
might.
it is His grace which worked. If it
Absolutely.
is not, it is His grace which I should seek more.
As we say, simple examples throughout the life, throughout the day, can take you to great heights. Of,
Absolutely.
yeah, mana samadhana, aparavada samadhana, and samarasya, harmony, enormous love, compassion. All these, if they are there,
These are the qualities of a parabhakta.
Parabhakta.
That's why we need
Yeah.
bhakti. That's why we need devotion in daily
Yeah.
life. Not to make anybody else better, not to improve the world over, but to improve our
or
own
not
selves.
to show off
Yes.
that I'm a bhakta, I'm going to the temple, I am sitting and doing puja.
That's a ritual.
That's ritual. But what is behind that ritual? If you can get hold of it, and everything becomes a ritual, everything becomes a yajna. Throughout the day, Panchamahayajna, you have, So,
You remember the story of Narada who went to a lady and said, okay, I am the bhakta. And then she says, go to the meat seller, Vyadha. And then he says to a meat seller, and I should learn bhakti from him. He says, please wait. So it's the attitude with which he's doing his work.
Yeah.
And I don't think they are very difficult to be implemented. They look to be difficult because nobody taught us. At 50, I'm learning this. Had I learned it when I was 8 and said, look, you just need to do this, come what may, or when I came home with lower marks, when my mother said, it's all right, you can always do it. Instead of making that an issue for the next 6 months, we create these things. So we just need the right teacher, the right approach. And an educated, a mother who knows this would be the best guru for her family. It could, so what?
Absolutely. It has to stem from the mother. And it has to stem from intrauterine life, I would say.
Absolutely. That's where Ashtavakra
learned. And so much of intrauterine learning. So the mother is the pivot of the society, the family, the society, the nation, and Matra Swasthyam Loka Swasthyam. Swasthyam is just not the body.
Yes.
Swasthyam is at different levels of deeper existence. So, with this, by practicing devotion in daily life, one can rise to great heights.
Yes.
Apara samadhana, and enormous love, compassion, as I already said, I'm just reiterating. But
rise to great heights, but live a life more full, more happy.
And you become very, very simple, humble. There is a vairagya. Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti, all these are, I mean, byproducts of Bhakti. Actually, Bhakti is the foundation of all these. Yeah, Sutre Manigana Eva. That is, yeah, it is threaded. Okay, so Vairagya, Jnana, everything starts off with Bhakti. So let's, as mothers, as daughters, as wives, let's bring it into our practice, the devotion in daily life with every activity we do. Okay, is it in my hands? Yeah, is it, I mean, is it not what he is doing? That you recognize in everything you do, and that becomes Parabhakti one day. Absolutely. So,
that's about it. I think you summed it up well, and it's a change in our attitude. It's what we cultivate, and with the guidance, with group. You have a beautiful group, and then sharing here and there, a word here and there, a small pat, and say, okay, this can happen, but we'll go on, and we are likely to falter, we are likely to make mistakes. Absolutely no issue, but we still go on as the attitude, and that's surrender.
And also all your efficiencies will improve tremendously. Not that by surrendering we are sitting like stones there.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it improves enormously. Okay, with this we would like to conclude. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. It was such a pleasure talking to each other.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you, doctor. It was pleasure listening to both of you also. Yeah, and like you said, if the Matrusta Swasthyam is there, like, the Griha Shanti will also be there, and that can also spread to the Loka Shanti.
Yes.
So that way.
Samashti, when the Vyashti is not, there is no Samashti which can be.
Yes, yes. So with that, let us end the prayer for the peace, of everybody. So sit comfortably. We'll all chant Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu 3 times with one Omkara to start with. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. So thank you once again. And like you said, the importance of the Guru and the Shastras, also Satsanga, they also play an important role. So I would like to also announce that when you talked about Satsanga, Sankalpa is also an initiative of Yoga Bharati. So we are having a Satsanga on March 26th. We'll post about it, where, we have the children performing a morning session. We are from 10:30 to 12:30, and the evening also the program. That will be on March 12th, not 26th, March 12th, the coming Saturday, next Saturday. And March 26th, we are also planning a introductory session on pranic healing. So we will post about that also soon. Yeah, this is the next weekend. The March 12th initiative is by the Sanatana Gurukulam, which is part of the Yoga Bharati initiative. So we will post about that also soon. So thank you so much. Thank you all the ladies and others who have joined us for a patient listening. So thank you. Have a good day.
There is one question here by Tejasvi.
Yeah, Kagga poem. Can you please share the first line, ma'am? Yeah, Eradu Konegalu Nee Madu Manadalayalli. So it is a poem by DVG. Yeah, so you can look it up. If you've been Dr. Nagaratna's student, I'm sure you would have heard it. And that is, she keeps repeating in all a therapy class. She says, as a therapist, you should know this sutra well. Yes, so thank you.
Okay.